Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Question for you. When it comes to any kind of result in your business, what do you look at? What do you think is probably the best way to look at them? And how do you evaluate what's actually working? So, Gabby here with our Sunday Skills session. If you are hopping on, definitely throw me, some love, say hey, and I will, give you some love in return. So today we're going over, what a, good result to look at in your business is. And what I mean by good result, I mean what's internally verifiable and what is externally verifiable when you're looking at your results in general. We always look at results as either money or if we're building a team or just basically usually those two when we're looking at our side hustle. But there are some other things that we can definitely look at, people who engage on your posts, those who reach out to you specifically, those who message you, so on and so forth. So I kind of want to do a little bit of an example through a project that I've been working on literally all day is for my geometric 3D Christmas tree that I'm making for this year's Christmas. So if we look at kind of where we started, so an idea, a template is what I started with which I printed out on my printer, and I bought some colorful cardstock yesterday in green and red. So there's the starting point. The end point will be, this really cool Christmas tree it looks 3D. I'll have to post a picture of what it was like last year so you guys can get a good idea of it. But it's this like really cool modern, it's just a DIY origami project essentially, because what you do is you have to fold the paper into these triangles, you have to glue these triangles, you have to put them in an order, and then you have to post them. So it's kind of intricate, but the same thing could be for your business. So you have a starting point where you don't really have anything, and then you have these ideas for, the result that you want to get to and the goals that you want to reach in a certain period of time. So you have an intention for that result, but on how to gauge whether or not you effectively got there, you have to look at what are your internal verifiable things. So, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are your expectations versus externally verifiable, which is literally looking at things on an analytical level. So did you get that team member? Did you make sales? Did you get people reaching out? The literal things that you can see. So that's what I mean by internal, which is your internal self, versus external, which is outside. So for today's project, I went from, that sheet of paper, which here's kind of the outline of it, that sheet of paper, aka beginning, versus, end, which would be the Christmas tree. But right now I just have the folded little triangles that I glued with rubber cement. So externally verifiable ways to look at it is I went from a sheet of paper to some neat looking triangles that haven't quite made a tree yet. So did I fail today? No, because, internally I'm thinking my expectations for this tree needs to be up hopefully by the end of the month. And so we're just on day 1 of the month. So if you're thinking of your business and you're like, okay, day 1 of the month, this is beginning. At the end of the month, I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. So how do you look at those? You have to think of it as those things, internal versus external. And that's important because the only way you can really actually evaluate yourself is kind of looking at the externals and not necessarily internalizing those externals. So you can't get down on yourself if you haven't, gone from paper to tree when you're just trying to actually just test things too. That's something to look at it with. Definitely look at all of your results, whether it's you have a week by week result, a month result, or a year result. You have to look at where you began to where you are at in the moment of where you're trying to go to. And I've gone actually over this before with, I can't remember if it was energetic focus or a different, I think it's like mental focus or something, I don't know, can't remember. The two different kinds of focuses I went over earlier this month, where you have to look at where you are at to where you want to be. And if you are about to take the step that's going to either get you closer or further away from that. And it all comes from externally verifying all of these different things. And, you know, it takes a little bit to kind of get down on the scale and actually sit down and look at yourself and, you know, look at the numbers. I'm always a big fan of Excel file sheets to actually show you data as to where you are at, where you are going, and, you know, what you might need to do differently to get your result. Because, you know, some things might not work for everyone, and people might not know there are different ways to do things. So it's always good to either reach out to others or, you know, kind of do your research online as to what different things people might be doing. And so that's what I wanted to go over today, is that your results, they are important, but also looking at the internal versus the external is also important when looking at those results. So I hope everybody is having a good Thanksgiving weekend, because technically we're still in Thanksgiving weekend. Tomorrow is Cyber Monday, which has a ton of deals, which yesterday I went over some, you know, basic things. Definitely shop locally. Cyber Monday, it's a little bit harder, but if you know of any online side gigs, definitely look around, because, you know, we're all trying to help each other. So if you got value out of today's live, definitely throw me a hashtag value. And if you're catching this on the replay, definitely give me a hashtag replay and I will give you a shout out later. Again, I hope you got value out of this, and I hope you're treating your results like you should be. Don't be downing your results. So that is my RX for success for today. Take as directed, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. All right, see you later.